In this episode of Falmouth in Focus, we take a look at how the Falmouth Police Department is helping Santa spread cheer this holiday season, and a Falmouth obstacle course highlights the day-to-day challenges of people on wheelchairs. All this and much more on this edition of Falmouth in Focus.
Hello and welcome to Falmouth in Focus, FCTV's current affairs program. I'm Michael Kasparian.
And I am Queen Carberry Banda.
We start the program with an annual holiday event hosted by the Falmouth Police Department.
The men and women in blue held their annual Stuff a Cruiser toy drive to help benefit local families in need. Here is how this year's event went.
Good morning, I'm Officer Oliver with the Falmouth Police Department. I'm here volunteering with the other members from our police department to collect toys for Tots for the Cape Cod chapter, which is going to give toys to local communities to give to children in need. And coming from a background where I didn't always have the best Christmas growing up, we all volunteer to do this to collect toys for the kids that are in need to bring up their holiday spirit. This is a great interaction for us with the community for the fact that we actually get to interact on a good basis instead of dealing with people on their worst days like we usually do. It's actually the best part of our job, getting to do stuff like this. So at this event, we collect toys for all ages, and sometimes this time of year, we tend to forget more about the older kids at events like this. So if we can get, headphones, things that older kids might like, sports equipment, makeup little kits that they have here for the girls, anything that's for the older kids, because we get a lot of toys for the younger kids, but the older ones usually get left out. This event is kind of like how we kick off our annual Christmas season as a department. We do first Stuff a Cruiser, and then we have our Lighting of the Green, which is tonight, and then we have the Christmas Parade tomorrow, which you'll see this vehicle, hopefully stuffed completely full, driving down the road. A lot of us bring our children, which actually sit in the back of the truck. They put the toys in for us. Last week, we were able to stuff this cruiser completely all the way from the back into the back seat. It's an amazing event, and the Falmouth community has supported us with an amazing outreach of toys, and we can't be thankful enough for it.
Thanks to Jeff Wyman for that story. Just a reminder to stay informed on the latest local, state, and federal COVID guidance with regular briefings by Falmouth Health Agent Scott McGann on FCTV Government Channel 15, our Facebook page, and fctv.org.
We now sit down with the Department of Public Works Director Peter McCarney, who will talk about how the DPW deals with snowstorms and the need for additional contracted snowplow drivers.
My name is Peter McCarney, Director of Public Works, and today we're going to talk about our Town of Falmouth Public Works snow plowing program. Within the Town of Falmouth, we have 450 miles of roadway, and I think this would be good statistics for the public to understand just how Public Works sees how we approach our storms. Is we have 450 miles of roadway. Each road is a double lane. So there's 2 lanes, so that would be 450 times 2 is 900 miles of roadway. And each road, each lane for each road we go over twice. So that would be, and at times 2, so it would be 1,800 miles of roadway that we plow within the town. And our trucks, we typically on an average snowstorm, we plow our roads every 2 hours. So you could see how the numbers add up with our contractors with the plowing of the roadways, and you can understand how the fatigue sets into to our drivers at times, especially during the overnight hours. The town is broken up into 8 main routes. We have Woods Hole, North Falmouth, East Falmouth, Waquoit, the downtown area. The North Falmouth and Waquoit area, they're rather large routes. We may even break those up into another couple of routes. At this time, we have 10 large trucks. We have 4 10-wheeler trucks. And the 10-wheeler trucks, the reason why we send them out the farthest to Wacoit and out to North Falmouth is that when we load them up with salt, they're gone for hours. You won't see them for 2.5, 3 hours. They go out and they really be able to hit a good salting and sanding prior to the storm for the pre-treat and during the storm when the storm is approaching. We don't want to be losing time traveling back and forth from the outskirts of Falmouth. Contractors that we do not get, we do not fill out of the 55 routes. Town of Falmouth crews have to fill that in, so it makes for a very long storm. Usually at the end of the storm, our guys they'll be tired and they're dragging. But we finish up the storms, we take care of all the problem areas in town, and our highway superintendent, assistant highway superintendent, they're well seasoned at doing this. They've been doing it for decades, so they know all the routes, they know the roads, they know the problem areas that we'd be able to get. With that, we also, the town of Falmouth also contracts out with some of the larger contractors for some front-end loaders and some of the areas that are hard to get if we get a heavy snowstorm, to be able to move the heavy wet snow out of the areas. And then once they can move the larger heavy wet snow, then we can get in there with our larger trucks to plow. A typical storm for us, we schedule to come in approximately 2 hours before the snow would hit. And what that does is that would give us an opportunity to get out and pre-salt with our trucks. We go out and we pre-salt all the roadways and we judge it so basically when we're done salting is when it's snowing out. And then we let the snow accumulate on the roadways, get on the roadways, it'll dry it'll suck up all the road salt and it'll dry it out, and then we'll be able to, after about an inch of snow hits the roadways, we'll be able to come in and we drop our plows and then we start scraping the roads. Any contractors that are looking to come to work, that are available this year to be able to come to work for doing some plowing operations, please drop into Public Works and see our highway superintendent assistant, our assistant highway superintendent. This year we've revised our plow rates. We raised them considerably, so there's a large increase there. So anyone that's interested, please feel free to come in and stop by, and we'll set you up with the plow package.
Thank you to Peter McCarnady for sharing a little insight on the operations of the DPW during a snowstorm. It's time now for FCTV's condensed version of the takeaways from recent municipal meetings. Selections are chosen based on community impact.
In its last meeting, the Falmouth Select Board appointed a new finance director after the former director, Jennifer Mullen, left the position back in September. The board appointed Ed Centio as finance director on December 5th. Mr. Centio will remain in his position for 2 years when he plans to retire.
We have selected the candidate who is with us tonight, who is extremely well qualified. However, I do want the board to be aware and the public to be aware that our candidate has said that he's going to retire within 2 years. So it is a short-term appointment. There was no qualified candidate that was able to serve on a long-term basis. I'm thrilled to have Ed Centio join us for the time that he will be here. He is currently the finance director in Yarmouth, where he has impressive accomplishments, of which I have personal knowledge.
Well, of course, I did my vetting of the town of Yarmouth and have some inside knowledge of the great people that work for Yarmouth, so I'd be thrilled to take over the position of finance director if you deem that's appropriate.
You mean Falmouth?
Falmouth, you mean?
Falmouth. Yes. Wait till.
Automatic.
Yeah, sorry.
Any questions from the board or comments?
I don't. I saw Mr. Centio's resume, and it's quite impressive, and I'm happy that we were able to talk him into coming down to Falmouth.
Indeed.
Madam Chair, I have a question.
Yes, please.
Mr. Centio, since you have plans to hopefully retire in the next year or two, what do you feel is appropriate for you to do as far as succession planning?
That is part of, again, what I have done in Yarmouth and other positions. I think it's a matter of networking, potentially bringing in somebody at a particular level with the idea of training them up to become that person over time.
This past Tuesday morning, the Falmouth Police Department held an awards and recognition ceremony. At this event, several police officers and citizens were recognized and awarded for a wide array of efforts and specific events that led to victims' lives being saved.
Welcome. For those of you that don't know who I am Edward Dunn. I am the police chief here at the Falmouth Police Department. I want to welcome the friends, relatives, police officers, and most importantly, the families of the police officers that are here today. I'd like to thank everybody for taking time to attend the police department swearing in and award ceremony this morning. This is an exciting event as the department welcomes 7 new police officers and a new promotion. The award portion of the program is very important as we recognize officers for their outstanding commitment to public safety.
To see the meetings in their entirety, check out Government Channel 15's program schedule at fctv.org.
And after a short break, we'll take you to a textile and clothing collection at Falmouth Senior Center. Stay with us.
Belonging to Each Other is an organization that guides our Falmouth neighbors experiencing homelessness on their path to stability by providing temporary cold weather housing and year-round loving supportive services. I am Christina Williams, pastor of North Falmouth Congregational Church and vice chair of Belonging to Each Other. Rabbi Joaquin Prince once wrote, "Neighbor is not a geographic term, it is a moral concept." By this definition, we have many good neighbors in Falmouth, and some of them helped make Belonging to Each Other's mission possible this past winter season. 15 meal team volunteers made and delivered 326 meals to 45 people who were sheltered in local motels during dangerous weather. The Falmouth Service Center helped feed 22 of our neighbors experiencing homelessness who lived in 2 of our homes. 30 volunteer drivers took their neighbors to their jobs, medical appointments, and even helped them move into their new homes. 120 businesses, healthcare, and community organizations donated money and items to their neighbors so that they could rebuild their lives, like used furniture and housewares, toiletries and cleaning supplies, even walkers and hearing aids were donated for seniors experiencing homelessness. 12 local congregations stocked our houses and provided needed funds and holiday meals. Many more volunteers transformed the 2 houses Belonging to Each Other rents into temporary homes for our neighbors transitioning to stability. Even school children got involved by making valentines for our neighbors experiencing homelessness. The list goes on and on. Thank you, Falmouth, for being a place filled with good neighbors.
Welcome back. Falmouth Commission on Disability celebrated International Persons with Disability Day earlier this month.
The event took place at Gus County Community Center, featuring an obstacle course designed to simulate the real world of a wheelchair, from bumps and cracks in the sidewalks to narrow doorways to sidewalks on hillsides. Here is the director of the Falmouth Commission of Disability with the goal for the event.
This is an obstacle course. Part of it was built by Owen Smith, a Boy Scout, and the rest I helped design. Today's International Persons with Disability Day, so the theme this year is invisible disabilities. So we decided to use the course to show what disabilities are like when you're out in the street and you're challenged and you're trying to use a wheelchair to get around. Not everybody understands it's not easy. And people come, they're challenged by this course. And you look at it, it doesn't look so bad, but you try and do it, it's totally different. The obstacles all mimic something that happens when you're out in a wheelchair. You're forced to deal with it. And we're trying to let people know that it's not easy. And these are the things that we tackle if we know about them. We've had complaints about parking lots, such as the one where DJ Wings is. The parking lot signs on the side of the parking lot, they're not on the parking spaces. So those parking spaces are not handicap accessible. Anybody can park there, and they can't be ticketed because the signs are not there. It's a law that the signs have to be fixed in front of a parking space. And this here is just, build empathy and know what each of these girls in wheelchairs face every day. I'm powered, so it's not as hard for me, but I can't even do the course because my chair's so heavy. But the people that are trying the course are getting an example, and they can do it blindfolded. We got somebody out there doing it blindfolded because it's an invisible disability. If she's sitting on the bench, you don't know if she's disabled, if she's blind or has a hearing impairment. And that's part of what today's about, is the invisible disability. So this is our course, this is our baby for the day, and we're hoping that people who do it are challenged enough to have empathy and realize that this is a reality for some of us.
The Commission on Disabilities meets the second Thursday of every month at the Town Hall. Thanks to Seth Harrington for that story.
As of November 1st, a new law is in effect which forbids garments and footwear to be thrown in with your household trash. In response to the new law, the DPW recently hosted a textile collection event which has boosted recycling, lowered our trash volume, and is funding our schools. Here's more.
Hi, I'm Amy Roth, Vice Chair of the Solid Waste Advisory Committee here in Falmouth.
And I'm Alan Robinson, Chair of the Solid Waste Advisory Committee.
And we're here in front of Mullen Hall today to talk to you about textiles recycling in the Commonwealth and here in Falmouth. In particular, we want to talk about a textile collection event that occurred 2 weeks ago. The Department of Public Works organized the event. Many of you came out for it, so we're grateful for that. That event was extremely successful, more than expected. The DPW did a great job letting people know that textiles in the Commonwealth, as of November 1st, are considered recyclable and no longer acceptable to be placed in the trash.
We collected that day, those 2 days, over 10,000 pounds of recyclable garments and other fabric materials. It was great. People brought shoes and boots and gloves and 30-year-old T-shirts with holes in them that they finally got rid of. I know I have some of those, and gave some of those, donated some of those. They brought really garments of all types. They had to be clean, they had to be dry. So long as they meet those two criteria, and couldn't have any grease on them. But if they meet those criteria, it's all good, and it all does benefit. We raised in that event over $500 for the PTOs and really the school kids of Falmouth. And that one day, or 2 days, $500, and that's a great thing.
And even though that event has already passed, we have these collection bins around at all of the schools in town year-round. So whatever you have, whenever you're ready to clean out your closets, highest, best reuse when possible. So if you have something that somebody else in your community could use, please take it to one of the thrift stores or have someone come pick it up. If it's no longer something you think is usable, as Alan said, it could be wholly. As long as it's clean, dry, and in a plastic bag, drop it off at one of these bins at any of the schools. And again, those proceeds from donations year-round go to the parent-teacher organizations in town. So they benefit the schools and the kids in those schools.
Last year, the PTOs generated over $12,000 for the 5 cents per pound that they receive for all the garments and materials that are dropped off here. So if you have some big 20, if you have some 10-pound boots that have all worn out and have holes in them, that's going to generate money for the kids in our community, which is just a great thing.
So once again, just a reminder, the textiles are no longer to be placed in the garbage. They can be recycled a number of different ways. The materials that go into these bins are recycled. They're sorted, so they go to their highest, best use once they hit these bins. So anything that can be reused outside this community is reused. Fabrics that can be repurposed are repurposed, and then the lowest use is as industrial wipers or rags.
It's PTO and the service center get 5 cents for every pound of textiles that are deposited in these boxes. And those 5 cents add up.
So the only prohibition for material going in here is that it basically shouldn't have been already used as a rag by you. So if it's stained with bodily fluids, oils or greases, hazardous materials, bugs, things like that, then no thank you. But everything else, clean, dry, in a bag, doesn't matter if it's wearable or not wearable, can go into these bins.
DPW is in the process of planning the next two-day weekend event for sometime in January or February. So stay tuned to FCTV and other media. The announcements will be coming soon.
Thanks to Eileen Preston for that story. Now we take a look at an exhibit that also seeks to recycle used materials and give them a new life.
Yes, scrap metal quilts are just one of the exhibits we saw at the Cahoon Museum of American Art. Here is our chat with Executive Director Sarah Johnson about their current exhibits.
Yes, we have on view at the museum right now 3 very exciting exhibits, including the exhibit that surrounds us, which is called Andrea Moore, an American Artist and Her English Garden. Andrea is a Falmouth-based artist who also has a residence in England in a country manor, and the exhibit treats how she moved from being an abstract artist to more botanical themes after taking on some garden restoration projects at her home in England. We have an additional exhibition on view called Robin Toast, Scrap Metal Quilts. Robin has outside on the museum's grounds 2 magnificent and colorful sculptures, including a phoenix and a sea serpent that stands 9 feet tall called Cecilia the Sea Serpent. What's unique about Robin is that she's fascinated with trash and junk, including metal, all kinds of signs and industrial materials. She had been driving through Vermont in 2008, and she saw a lot of industrial factory towns with places that had closed down, and she also saw women selling quilts as a way to earn income to support their families. So she combined the two and uses industrial materials such as metal and signs. She was inspired by the form and format of quilts, so she makes scrap metal quilts. Another local artist, Pauline Lim, who's based in Falmouth and also has a studio in Somerville. Pauline Lim's exhibition is called Travels in My Armchair, and it features unique animals and other whimsical characters on their adventurous journeys through different fantasy scenes. I should mention also that we have a terrific museum shop with locally sourced items, including pottery, books, jewelry, so that's also something to come to the Cahoon Museum for. We have these 3 magnificent exhibitions on view. They're bold and colorful. It's a perfect activity for you to enjoy with your friends or family during this holiday season.
The Cahoon Museum is open until December 23rd. Visit cahoonmuseum.org for more information.
Yes, and after a short break, we'll take you to a holiday book sale at the Falmouth Public Library. Stay with us.
Welcome back. The Friends of the Falmouth Public Library hosted their last book sale event of the season.
The beloved tradition is always exciting for book lovers. FCTV stopped by at the event to learn more.
Well, the holiday sale is where we take the best donations we have. What this supports is all the programs the library is not funded for. A lot of children's programs, a lot of adult programs like the Hoopla and Clams, which is going to change shortly, but a lot of those, all the museum passes, comes through the support of the Friends of the Falmouth Public Library. And if you look through the library, there are different rooms, a lot of the computer programs, and even some of the furnishings like at East Falmouth, and some of the summer programs that they have. I was in North Falmouth recently, and they told me they had a live reptile program that the kids loved, and they were able to sponsor a lot of those things through the Friends support. The people of Falmouth, and really of Cape Cod and southeastern Boston, are just great readers. So we don't have a problem with putting books out there. What we just want people to make sure they give us books that are, you know, if you see it on a table, would you buy it? So we want books that are clean. We want books that aren't moldy or in any way too badly tarnished, and certainly intact. So that's what we look for when we sort books.
My mother was a reader, and we read every night, way back when, which was passed on to my children. Paper books, not Kindle. The touch of a paper book, the smell, the feeling of the pages, and my love for reading transferred to my daughters, who are now 33 and 31, and they are readers, which is wonderful.
If you missed this event, the Friends will still be holding their annual summer book sale in July, although at the moment they have not decided on a date.
A mainstay of high school programs, the culinary arts course at Falmouth High School has been transformed as part of CVTE, State Vocational Program. Here's more about one of the courses students are taking at Falmouth High School.
Going into high school, I was excited to see that there was a culinary class so I could show my skills as well as build on them. Culinary was definitely the class I look forward to each day because it allowed me to work as a team, be on my feet, and eat good food. I discovered my love for nutrition and wellness, learning different food groups and how it affected the human body. Even taking culinary class during COVID was rewarding because it built my confidence, independence, and technique. Moving forward in Global Gourmet, we were able to make meals for the community center, and I was able to earn my ServSafe food handler certification. Lastly, now in my senior year, I'm taking restaurant management and on track to earn my ServSafe workplace certification. We have constructed a coffee shop called the Clipper Cafe and sell coffee and pastries. Overall, my culinary track experience has been all positive and is built on my skills as well as relationships. I highly recommend it because of all the certifications you can receive and the amazing food cooked each day.
I chose this program because culinary has always been a big part of my life growing up with grandmothers who love to make food. This course has taught me how to sustain a business, how to budget my ingredients, and apply the lessons to outside experiences. After completing ServSafe and other programs involved with this course, I've been able to speak about it and use it to my advantage at my work. I highly recommend this class as long as you remember that although you're learning, you still take the time to enjoy it and simply have fun.
Thanks to Ryan Weber for that report.
And FCTV wants to remind you that television can be as easy as hitting record on your smartphone. Would like to invite all Falmouth residents and visitors to share their slice of life with us. Email us your photos and videos or upload them to Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram using hashtag MyFalmouth or Falmouth in Focus to be featured on this show. Thank you to our most recent contributors.
And lastly, they call themselves the Fabulous Females of Falmouth, a Facebook group dedicated to charitable giving. Here now are the sights of these generous women in action, delivering over 300 donated presents to the Falmouth Police Department's Toys for Tots annual gift drive. We hope you have a happy holiday season and a wonderful new year. We'll see you in 2023.